Hey guys, welcome back to the BuzWeaver channel, and in our top stories today, from Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene from the lovely state of Georgia, here where I live. Now she represents Northwest Georgia up there in the beautiful city of Rome. She says, Americans have had enough COVID hysteria. We will not comply. Well, that's quite a interesting statement there from Marjorie Taylor Greene. I will not scroll down so you can see some of the responses, of course, because they're quite interesting. The Atlanta Journal and Constitution here in hot Atlanta, and boy, has it been hot, in the high 90s this entire week. Atlanta College reinstates COVID-19 mask mandate as students return to city. That's right, Morris Brown College, ladies and gentlemen. A week after classes began, Morris Brown College is once again requiring students and employees to wear face masks on campi. The small private college announced the mask mandate Sunday in a letter to facility staff and students, saying the requirements and other COVID-19 safety protocols will be in place for 2 weeks. The college cited reports of positive cases among students in the Atlanta University Center as the reason for the decision. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you have been a subscriber to the BuzWeaver channel, you know that we started covering the pandemic even before it happened. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, because we were covering the protests in Hong Kong. And during the protests of Hong Kong, we were hearing about a mystery, I think they called it, they didn't call it a flu, they called it a pneumonia. A mystery pneumonia that was going around over there in China. They were doing some exercise, some military exercises over there, and apparently some of the military individuals had experienced some issues with COVID-19 or the coronavirus. I think I can say that fully now here on the YouTubes. But nonetheless, we were talking about that right as it came out, and then of course we tracked it all the way when it started going into Italy, and then the toilet paper fiasco that later started, and that's when we started talking about the pandemic as best we could on YouTubes. Yeah, I know. I realize I'm saying it that way, but that was the best. I mean, we couldn't even. At one point, we could talk about masks, we could talk about the coronavirus, and then we couldn't. So it was just kind of a weird thing. But nonetheless, so what I want to lead into as well is that I've never taken it lightly. We've talked about it here on the channel. I've always maintained that if you want to wear a mask, eye protective wear, whatever you want to do to protect yourself, I'm absolutely for it. You just do your thing. People can say what they want to say. Let them do their thing. Now, the irony of this all, and the reason that I'm reading this, not only because I heard it also from Tim Pool and others, but on Monday of last week, that would be the 14th of August, my father was diagnosed with COVID. And he and my mother are seniors. They both had gotten the COVID vaccine, and I think my father said he had gotten 2 additional boosters. And on the first day, he said he felt fine, other than the fact that he thought he had a summer cold. Or allergies or something was going on, but he had a difficult time sleeping that night. And it was my mother who told him to go see the doctor. So he went to the doctor, and they said, you have COVID. And so we came home, and according to him, he said he felt fine, and that he had just lost his voice. But then on Tuesday and Wednesday, he was feeling kind of rough, he said, and kind of like, having a bad flu and stuff. And then by Thursday, he was kind of getting back into his normal routine. And then by Friday, the dude was already out cutting his grass. So maybe the shots helped and the boosters and so forth, but nonetheless, I'm happy to report that my father is doing well, recovering fine, still recovering actually from COVID. But thankfully, he and my mother never got it, and none of us family members that were around him around that time, I think, had any issues either. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, I digress. So we go on to the New York Post. AIM summer surge of new COVID variant. Should we be wearing masks? Now, my father did wear a mask, I think, for the first couple of days, and he also rinsed his mouth out a lot with I was going to almost say dishwashing soap. That's obviously not what he's going to do. I'm not saying he did that. No, he used regular mouthwash. I have no idea where I was going to go with that. So the World Health Organization also said that it has classified BA.2.86 as a variant under monitoring due to the large number of mutations it carries. Now, I know a lot of people were really irritated by the phrasing or the mentioning of herd immunity, but I think by this time, I think a lot of it, since it's passed through so many people, particularly people that may have been vaccinated and so forth, that it may not be as severe. I don't know. I'm not a medical expert. I'm just saying that those of us that were around my father in and around the time that was diagnosed with COVID, none of us have gotten COVID, or at least none of us have felt bad enough to have to go and get tested. So I do. My mother gave me a 15-minute kit, so I've not used it because I've not felt bad. I don't think she's had any symptoms either. I don't think she's had any symptoms either, or my sister or my niece and nephews. To mask or not to mask? That is the question facing many doctors, public health officials, and concerned citizens worldwide as cases of COVID-19 once again tick forward. Now, like I said, I can't deny it. My family member had gotten COVID, this last week. So who am I to say that it's not happening? Meanwhile, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, which is here in Atlanta, by the way, on Thursday, that there's a new highly mutated variant of the corona named BA.2.86 that's spreading worldwide. Now, they don't go into any details as to the severity of this or anything like that. Recent data from the New York State Department of Health released August 2nd showed that COVID cases spiked by 55% over the prior week, with an average of 824 reported cases per day across the state. Now, does anyone else find it fascinating that during the time of COVID, we got very little, listen to me, we had very little, if any, reports on the flu. So I just find that fascinating that apparently the flu just disappeared. There was no flu statistics whatsoever. Apparently the flu was gone. The rise in COVID-19 cases isn't limited to New York. The CDC recorded 10,320 U.S. hospitals admissions for COVID-19 in the week of ending the 5th, and a 14.3% increase from the week prior. What is a New York hospital? Okay, I guess. Attention, please wear a mask before entering. Now, the interesting thing here is, of course, other commentators are talking about this, and I was watching a video on Tim Pool's video, and he had gone up to Portland, Maine, for the weekend, and interestingly enough, in Portland, they never ended the mask mandates or lockdown. It never ended. Now, no one complied with it other than businesses, because he said he went to a casino and they were actually implementing COVID rules, with not touching the cards and stuff. But that's a whole other story. Fascinating that Portland, Maine, never, they never, I guess, removed the COVID lockdowns or mask mandate rules. Is really kind of fascinating in the whole scheme of things. And so, of course, we hear from the Daily Mail, new COVID variant branded the real deal could already be in Britain, experts claim, and calls for return of face masks to slow spread of virus. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are seeing yet another spreading of the coronavirus, or COVID, very much, I would say, like the flu. Now, I'm not saying it's like the flu. I'm not saying it's anything like the flu. I'm just saying apparently it's going around. And, of course, being your fellow conservative commentator, political analysis and stuff that we do here on the channel, I am wondering how much of this also is political, as we saw, of course, what happened in 2020, and whether or not certain political figures will be using this to their advantage. Some say the lockdowns are probably never going to return. Masks will be completely optional versus businesses and such making adamant requests that people wear them. Now, they may still put signs out telling people to wear them, but I don't think it's going to be as enforced, to be totally honest with you. It's very difficult to say whether or not it's going to be, as rampant as it was during the pandemic. So, new COVID variant branded the real deal, as I just mentioned here. And I just wanted to go over some of this. A new COVID variant labeled the real deal, obviously in the UK, scientists claim today. The Omicron spinoff dubbed BA.6. Okay, so this is a BA.6 variant, but yet to be officially named, has sparked concerns of a fresh wave because of its catalog of mutations. Now, it's an interesting way to spell catalog, but it's British, just like when they spell color and that sort of thing. Only two countries, Denmark and Israel, have spotted it so far. So I guess the BA one is limited to Israel and Denmark, as far as I can tell, or based upon what this article is saying. But here in the United States, it would appear that we have this BA.2.86. You guys will have to let me know down in the comments if you have had your bout of COVID, or family members or people you know that have had COVID, what their experiences were. You don't have to go into all the details, just whether or not you had experienced this or members of your family very much like I had. Now, I had cousins and others that have had it during the time of the initial pandemic or the original pandemic, and they had it pretty rough. Some of them had it pretty badly, and they were not feeling very well at all. But nonetheless, guys, it's been an interesting week getting back more into the videos. But I would love to hear your thoughts and comments down below, of course, on your experiences with COVID, and if you think the mask and or even lockdowns are coming back, and could it be politically motivated? So appearing there on the screen, that would be the channel icon you guys can click on if you're watching on YouTube. Thanks for all your support on New Tech as well. So you guys can click on that to subscribe, as well as to select notifications. And I'll see all you guys in the next video.